and everyone it's available to everyone on their merits, and there's one justice system.
I don't see how you could have said that out loud without giggling, because everyone knows that's
We
not
know
the case.
both of those.
I mean, everyone knows that anyway.
Yeah.
But I think what these I think maybe it was a slow news day, and maybe the fact that these two celebrity people who you would like to think of as very likable types.
Yeah, let's throw them under the bus and get the news off of the focus off of
Out of our favorite president.
out of anything.
I'm not losing sleep, but I was rather repulsed.
Yeah.
Because there are some celebrities that I don't know them, but I would like to think are likable and upstanding. And oops, guess not.
Yeah. Yep.
But you had, you wouldn't have had access to those schools anyway.
No. My whole point is the guy standing there making those statements to the Americans.
I have to see that because it's just
like was so stupid.
What it's like Sean Spicer. Like what did you hear? Did you hear yourself?
People in Scotland love me. Remember when he said that after he got fired?
My heart goes out to him because he seemed he's such a I despised him at the time, but he seemed so unhappy in the role, and he was just so awkward. So my heart went out to him. But
this one now is worse.
No, she's infinitely worse. I don't know how she lives with herself. I'm at a loss. How does she live? How does? And Mike Pence, it's terrible.
Oh, he got a dressing down the other day by Dick Cheney.
That's interesting.
Yeah. And someone transcribed the whole conversation and it was leaked.
Who was the one who said that he was a cheerleader for the porn star presidency? Which is here's this guy who's like this card-carrying Christian. He fills me with so much contempt. And not for being Christian, for being a goddamn hypocrite, and for having a crush on this,
Please, they're all fucking. If you know about them, they're scamming you.
I guess so.
If they're on TV or in the media, they're taking your money.
Are there any good people in the world? Maybe everyone's partly good.
No, there are good people in the world,
but they're on the lower side. People, they're invisible.
But this is, I think Napoleon said religion wasn't created to control the masses.
Well, yeah, there's no question. Yeah.
Right. And what was I? Oh, I'm watching the show Rebellion.
Yeah.
And they're asking the church for help, and the bishop or whoever is like, get all the shit out of there. That's all you have to get, the gold and the statues out of the church right now that you're concerned. Don't worry about anything else.
Jesus. Well, people do like Catholicism because it's pretty and it smells good. But I want to think there's people who are in it. I have, mind you, I have no use for organized. I don't begrudge it in anybody else. But
seriously, if born, raised Irish Catholic, against my mother's will, I really went hard because to hurt her.
Right.
I got into Catholicism.
She wasn't Catholic.
No, and all she did was talk crap about my father and his family.
Got it.
So I started going to Catholic church when I was 13. I got my confirmation, and
via your father's wishes, not hers. Via your father's wishes.
No, my own. Just to spite her.
Piss her off. Oh wow.
Yeah, I wasn't even in touch with my father. I was sent away at that time,
true.
remember. Yeah.
Got it.
Got it. And
oh wow.
And I had my uncle Joseph sponsor me. And my mother was outside the church screaming, somewhere up in Westchester.
Come on. Yeah. So she was there to protest.
Yeah.
Not that she wouldn't go inside, and you did it just to upset her, which I think is brilliant. And it makes religion seem so foolish. Or like when someone who's Jewish is going to marry someone else, are they going to convert? Why?
But listen, with the theology. The whole concept of Jesus Christ and his second coming.
Yeah.
Who's the first to go? Vatican City. Wiped off the map. According to his thinking.
Why do you say that?
Isn't he the one with the money lenders? And These are the biggest real estate and art holdings
Yeah,
in the world.
they probably have a portion of the world's wealth.
Yeah. They're gone. If you believe in that.
And of course you don't, but the ones who...
But you do believe in the second coming of Jesus Christ.
It sounds like a nice concept.
It's moronic.
It sounds nice.
How can you...
Free us from all anxieties. We wait in joyful hope.
How can you worship something...
That ain't coming back. And maybe
No.
Mm-hmm.
That is coming back.
Mm-hmm.
And if it does come back, it's going to
But-
destroy you.
So the denial of people with all their wealth and all their robes and all their jewels, they either have deluded themselves.
That is nothing. He was not about that at all.
No.
The hookers and beggars and...
Fabulous. That's really very, very true. But I just wonder if the people with the money and all the toys, they know it's bullshit, right? Presumably.
Yeah.
I mean, do they think, I would be the first to go if this ever actually happened? I wonder if that... But while I'm here, I'm going to just enjoy my
So let me
earthly
see.
wealth.
I'm going to fuck this 8-year-old boy in the ass, and I'm going to take a risk of going to hell and not heaven. And I'm going to do it over and over again.
That's right.
What
And
do they
it's-
believe in?
And it's not, and I don't know, I don't know what, it's not, I don't think every priest does that. I don't
No, I
think-
didn't say every priest does,
No, but a sizable amount do.
Uh-huh.
Remember how back in the day, I don't know if your family, well, the Catholicism was mocked by your mom, but they would always pick a child in a multiple family to, be ready for the priesthood, and it was always the kid who was kind of gay. I know, like, again, it's interesting, but I just
Like, I have a cousin who's, like, into it over her head, and she would never do anything bad to anybody.
yeah, no, there are lovely people,
Yeah.
and that absolutely, and they seem, and not even God fearing, just God loving.
But you're not running anything
Yeah.
on moral principles if you're going to run that church.
No, you.
Allegedly, you've killed the Pope during elections,
Yeah.
right?
Mm-hmm.
We picked the Pope. He had a heart attack and
Yeah,
died, so we picked another one.
By John Paul I or John Paul II.
He was murdered.
Yeah, that seems to be a.
That is the case, yeah. Wow. They do not play games.
Don't fuck with the Catholic Church, but it's so pretty and it smells good.
Yeah, I mean St. Patrick's does, but all that should be going to the poor.
Right, and I think maybe a tiny portion. I think maybe some of those Pentecostal things that I can't relate to at all. I think they're probably better with the
Yeah.
poor. I think
Yeah.
I think they would show up and
Yeah.
give free haircuts,
Yeah.
and I think, but
Yeah.
people with money, it's upsetting.
Yeah. Even my mom's church, the SVA,
Right.
they've got that huge spot on
Yeah, it sounds like a
But-
big piece of real estate.
Their congregation does a lot of work.
They do a lot of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, they said they're good for the in the
Yeah.
community.
Yeah.
My dad always said they were good neighbors. I don't know. Ah.
They're nuts, but they.
Well, nuts because of
they
but
think
they-
everybody has to be like them.
But if I've met people like that, I don't. They're subtle about it, so they
Yeah.
wouldn't appear to be judging me, and I wouldn't care if they did one way or another, so it wouldn't bother me.
Well, they want to get in. They will get in the door first. They're not Jehovah Witness style, but once that foot is in the door, can I pray with you
That's
for
what
a
they
minute?
do. That's what they did. They called me one time when I was sick. They said they were from a community outreach place,
Oh.
and I was probably 26. Like, sure, I was just bored and lonesome and sick, and they're like, yeah, we could pray for you. And then, but they pegged it as we're talking. We'd like the neighborhood to be safer. It's when I lived on Morton Street, so I didn't let them in after that. I thought it was taking advantage, but they didn't take my money or anything like that.
I was renting an apartment from one of the women in the church. It was crazy, like $68 a month, right?
It was
And it was
impossible.
rent controlled on 10th Street, 5th floor walk up or 4th floor walk up.
Did you say 68?
Yeah, something crazy.
Uh-huh.
I don't even remember what
Okay.
it was. So she didn't want to lose it. She didn't want to live there because her and her friends had squatted a building on 3rd Street and rebuilt it and taken possession of it. And the
So
city
you
gave
were
it to
sort of
them.
squatting in the place then?
No, I was living here.
Okay.
They had their own building now,
Wow.
right?
Mhm.
They built it back up and the city
On
gives it
3rd.
to you.
Okay.
Yeah. And so I remember she used to come over once in a while and it would just be like, get the fuck out of here. And she would be like, can I pray for you? Can I pray with you 1 minute? And I'm like, yeah, and this bottle of cocaine cooked up right there on the table, and
So it was
crack pipes.
So what was she thinking? All right, so she saw all that stuff.
Yeah.
If she was naive, she didn't.
No, she knew what was going
Okay,
on.
I guess even Ray Charles wouldn't know what was going on.
Yeah, her ex-husband was.
Okay, so what was she? What was her goal? What was her?
Oh, they were gonna save me, I guess.
Okay, so look, as absurd as that is, that probably they meant well.
Well, remember when I said it in the church? You've been trying to get me in here for 40 years.
Yes. To no avail. And when they saved your mom and lured her in, did it help?
They found a new fucking piece of insanity for my mother.
I get that, but do you think? But it didn't hurt her specifically. Maybe she wasn't any worse.
She was always very religious, and she could never decide which religion she was.
She was a seeker in a kind of weird, perverse way.
I guess in the late 70s, she found this church, and she stuck with it.
Yeah, so that means she tried others, and
yeah.
And they must either they liked her or they didn't like her, but they didn't kick her.
I remember when Sammy Davis Jr. turned Jewish. My mother said she was Jewish.
Yes.
I don't know if he turned Jewish or he was always
he
Jewish.
Converted or whatever. I forgot what that was all about, but he did. It was semi interesting, but I mean it didn't. I'm sure your mom might have been nuts, but that didn't harm her any.
Yeah.
And.
No, it didn't harm her.
Maybe she was one of the people out in the community doing good work.
Until she married a con man in the church.
Who was he? What was his name?
Ooh. His name at the time. So he came into the church as a Navy captain. This is such a crazy story. He came into the church as a Navy captain, and he was obviously looking for a victim. And he found one, and his name was Anthony Gambino, and he told my mother that he was a member of the Gambino, crime family, but not one of them,
right.
But his family, and blah blah blah, this, that, the other thing. So when I met him, after a few incidents, I was 17, 18.
In the context of my boyfriend.
A few interactions. I said to him, if you fuck with my mother, I'm going to kill you. I know what you are.
You knew at 17 that he was a con man?
Yeah.
And your mom didn't know?
No.
Okay.
She doesn't care, right?
Yeah. Touche.
And so...
and was that your way of saying, I know who you are, you dumb asshole, or were you trying to be protective toward your mom? I mean, because that's...
Well, I was trying to be protective towards my mom.
Which is incredibly moving.
But it's funny, like, this guy took me to get tested for the military on Times Square. Took me in. Those guys jumped up. I forgot what it was. His rank. It was a high rank. Captain on deck or commander on deck. And he sits me down with the recruiter, right? And he says, listen, I want you to get this guy tested as quickly as possible, right? I want you to make sure he gets through this and, with no problems. And you get him in and you get him enlisted right away. You'll be driving for me in San Diego next year. He'll be my driver. This is what he told the guy at the recruiting station.
But he must have had some cred because they came to when he was there.
So, listen. They did exactly what he said. Right? And then I tested out. He's like, do you think you can pass the test that I'm going to give you? I said, I think I can pass. And he's like, what the... I blew it out the water. He's like, you're already candidate for naval officer school. What do you want to do? And at the time, it was called underwater demolition.
Yeah.
That was the Navy SEALs.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And I wanted to do officer candidate school and underwater demolition. And they took me to Fort Hamilton, gave me a physical. They said, okay, you can get on the bus right now. Or you can, if you want to get on the bus right now, you can go. Meanwhile, at Fort Hamilton, I made a girlfriend.
This is Brian.
She's like, I'm going. Are you coming with me?
Get out.
I was like, I gotta go home and tell everybody, that I'm leaving. I went home.
He told them that you were going to be
Yeah, that's the night I got really drunk watching the fight in the bar. That's really why I wanted to go, was to see the Leon Bramble and Boom Boom Mancini
You
fight.
talked a lot about that.
And I got arrested that night.
Brian, that's so nuts.
That was my first felony.
That's such a big missing piece of that. Yeah, because
I didn't mention
Rambo,
that.
And, but it was important that you got
So
the
I
details.
had my one foot out the door of the life, right? And I
you,
said, just
you were
one
on
more
board.
night.
You were,
Yeah, just one more night.
which would work for 99%
Yeah.
of the population. One drunken
Yeah.
last. I'm sure that's even a standard thing to do. But
I-
you actually did want to join the military.
Yeah. I ended up with 2 felonies that night.
Ah. What was the other one?
Well, they charged me with first degree and second
Gotcha.
degree on robbery. Robbery.
And you also mentioned that there was a white guy at the corner, kind of looking at a place.
In the corner of the bar.
Kind of the bar. And you're like, who's that? It's got to be a cop. He
Right.
doesn't look like he fits in the environment.
So-
was he the one who?
No, he didn't. He didn't expose himself. But what they said in court was, listen, we know what else you did that night, because we had also robbed we were robbing a salon around the corner.
The beauty salon.
Yeah, I think I
Right.
told you about that,
Yeah,
when
the
the
guy.
old people came in,
Yep.
and I ran out holding,
Flashlight.
pretending it
Everyone
was a
falls
gun.
down the stairs.
Yeah.
We thought it was hilarious.
So that's part of the hilarity goes on throughout the night.
Some hilarity.
And, later on we're walking down the block, still in that mood,
And you're in that high-
pushing each other
Yeah.
around.
Girlfriends and kind of victorious and young and
some
stupid.
guy jumps in the doorway and hides, He doesn't want, he's scared.
And that was the guy who you broke into?
Yeah, because you see the mail shoot.
You said, yeah, I'm picturing it wrong. You said there was a guy looking through the hole in his mailbox.
Okay, no. Back in the day, front doors used to have mail shoots.
The one that would be inserted, implanted in the door. Yeah,
Open the chute, throw the mail in.
No way. Okay.
Yes. You don't remember that?
No, no. My mom has it's like something in the door that you shove it through, but she lives in a little house.
About this wide and about this long. And you lift them up and throw the envelopes and magazines inside.
Yes, that's coming back.
So,
Wrought iron thingy, right?
it's night, it's dark, you can see the ends of the mail chute, there's light coming out, and then you can see, obviously, there's a face there.
Right.
Looking at us.
Okay, that's clearer. You described that. And
He started looking out of his mailbox.
I'm picturing it
Now
in my
shoot.
mom's house.
Yeah.
I always get my visuals wrong, but I got the gist that you saw a pair of eyes and you thought,
So, okay, it's
on.
lizard brain time.
Mhm. But then you regained your human brain and said, leave
when we
it.
kicked the door open,
Yeah, I'm sure he was scared to death.
and the
Hits the other side
guy
of it.
just goes down, and he's like holding $5 in his hand or whatever it was.
Oh.
And I swear to God, I said, "Oh, Vin, come on!" And Vin's like, "Fuck yeah, give me that money." And they're right behind me.
The homicide people together?
No, they're standing right there behind me.
Wow. No, the guys, not the police who were in the car, doing some other
Yeah,
unrelated
the
homicide
murder
case.
investigation. Yeah.
Wow. So you must think life is unfair sometimes.
Well, but I got away with so much shit.
Yeah.
So that's how I try to look at it.
Yeah, I think there's a good balance in your life. I think you may have done some things wrong, but you have paid very, very dear for it and made a lot of it right.
Yeah. So I accept that.
Yeah, no, I look forward to.
I don't have any remorse.
To writing.
or-
I actually wrote that part in the very beginning, that you're someone you're not one of those inmates who, it wasn't me. Like it was a way to own it and to, make it right. But I think that's an endearing trait of yours. That's, unusual. Like feeling bad for your
My
victims.
bank teller.
Aw, that's so cute.
So many thoughts went through my head. It's crazy.
I'm sure, and
Everything that she thought was going to happen today.
you were a principal. But because I don't know what situation I'd be in to do that anyway. You must have been very desperate for drug money, right? It wasn't.
Yeah.
You weren't doing it for any other reason than that,
Just
right?
drug money. That's it.
I mean, it took some cojones to do that in the first place.
It's no desperation.
Yeah, I guess so.
I had been wanting to rob the bank my whole life.
Right. I'm no better than anybody else. I mean, I wasn't rich or anything, but I didn't have to rob or cheat. There was, a bank at ATM with some money in it.
I think when I was in a high chair when I was like 3 years old, I think I was three or four. They told me that I said, I was never going to get married. I was going to be a bank robber and be a truck driver.
How about the third one?
Never drove a truck in my life.
Hi, Brian. What are your goals? I'm going to stay single. I'm going to be a bank robber. And for the tour de force, I'm going to be a truck driver.
Yeah. I have no recollection of it, but I have recollection of being told of it, you know, when I'm 8 and 9 and 10 and 11.
It's a funny and really odd story.
So I started looking at banks when I was hanging out with the Chinese.
Because that's where the money was.
Yeah, so, you know, me and my crew, lunchtime
you're
burglar
the ones who
crew,
worked at it for the...
we were looking at banks, we were scoping them out, you know.
It was something you had as a possible next project.
But we always, you know, we always had our little shit going on, and but this would have been the next step in our criminal enterprise. But our criminal enterprise was disrupted by other things.
Right, you did it for a while. They got taken away?
One of us got arrested for stabbing a guy in St. Mark's Bar and Grill.
Oh my gosh.
He was two Chinese guys, and I took them over to hang out. You know, I introduced them to the punk rock scene and everything. And Tommy was walking across the bar, and he kicked somebody's foot by mistake, and Tommy said, "Oh, excuse me." And the guy was a big guy, football player, and he turned to Tommy and he said, "Fuck you, you stupid chink." And there was a knife in his liver. And next thing you know, do not ever call, you know, a guy like that a chink. You just don't do it.
No, I mean, and it sounds like he was doing nothing wrong, and he even apologized for his little misstep.
A chink, yeah.
Yeah, no, that's...
I actually one time, I was with Johnny one time, and this guy called him a chink. And Johnny went to jump up, and I pushed Johnny down, and I got up, and I punched him in the face.
I got this one for you. So that's like the lowest of the low. No, it's gross. Does someone deserve a knife in their liver? No, probably not.
No, cost me back.
Well, that was
That's
but
what he ended up on.
He didn't die.
Yeah, so my friend ended up getting, I think, 7 years.
Like grievous injury or whatever. Interesting.
I ran into him last year on East Broadway.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I can't believe some of these people, Drina tells me things like that too. Oh, you don't know Drina.
I don't interact with her.
Oh, okay.
I just never, you know.
But she's from this part of the world. And she's always, you know, the people that she's probably 50-ish now.
We've been in the rooms together so many times, we just never, you know.
Oh, so interesting because...
I'm not one of those guys.
She would seem like somebody you would...
I'm not one of those guys, I don't...
Oh, you don't? Yeah. She's not in the rooms anymore, so you can run into her now. She has extricated herself from the rooms.
Okay. You know, I'm not like my sponsor. I'm not trying to be best friends with Mark Jacobs. And
does he do that? Oh, that's embarrassing.
Listen, we're having a conversation. Mark walks out of the room and Tommy runs after him. I was so fucking pissed off. But then I was like, Ryan, let it go. You know that's what he's about.
Mark Jacobs,
Showtime.
He's one of those guys who people endlessly... I mean, I get that he's a big name, and I don't... I'm sure, I hope he's a nice man. I don't care.
Listen, I never said a word to him. He came to me.
I'm sure, but and you didn't... Well, you wouldn't be the type that would be, you know...
You know, he's the one who came to me and said, hello,
Did
how
you like
doing?
Him?
Yeah, he's very nice to me.
Yeah, apparently he's a nice guy.
And then
he was nice to Carl.
I was at an opening for Temple Gym.
Mm-hmm. Recently.
Yeah, and he walked in, and, you know, everybody went crazy, all the paparazzi and everything. You know, and he came over and he said hello to me.
How do you like that?
Yeah, Michelle. Yeah, but Tommy's a...
That's just... it just makes me feel really sorry.
He's like a publicity whore in AA.
But to know... Look, no one should be that.
But it's...
I mean, if you're starstruck and you see your favorite movie star there, that's cool.
Shut up. It's starstruck, and it's a lot of ego for him. I go all the way to Greymore every week. I save the children with the polar bears.
Yeah.
None of this is altruism.
I mean, his money's green. I mean, I know. Well,
he advertises
altruism is never altruism if you.
He's advertising it. Yeah.
That's a good point. Yeah. The best good deeds are the ones done quietly.
Yeah.
Saying I'm doing the Polar Bear Club.
Over and over, and how much money we raise.
It just makes me
envious
feel sorry.
people are.
It just makes me feel sorry for him. But I'm sorry he's a bit of a star fucker because that's just embarrassing.
Yeah, it is. It is.
I have a sponsor who's like that, and she's we've been working together for 14 years. She's infinitely better than she was, but like, can you just keep it in here? It's just not becoming.
Another one who's in Perry Street is Richard Quest from CNN.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm talking about?
Oh yeah.
So like I never really approached
Yeah.
him or anything, but he qualified one night, and
Did you tell that story?
he told the story, and I said, it's really interesting because you left a lot out of that story, and I remember.
I know what he left out too.
I remember reading about it and thinking, oh my God, this poor motherfucker.
Yes.
What a way to get caught.
And then he wound up on some New Year's Eve, like the ball falling where people interview. So it's like, okay, I guess he's back in everyone's good graces again.
So right now he's an aviation expert.
Oh, so he's a talking head again.
Oh yeah, he's
Okay.
been one. Yeah,
Right.
yeah. So he's.
So he told about his lack of life was unmanageable, but he didn't say why.
Yeah, he never said.
All right. Sometimes you gotta sort of.
Yeah, but I mean,
You
chains and drugs and.
No, it was harnesses.
Yeah. In the Central Park.
It was very embarrassing for David Carradine, but he was dead, so it's like he doesn't have to worry about it anymore. Richard Quest bravely goes around.
Yeah. He took ownership.
But I do want people to be able to surpass. I mean, no one's gonna. Well, presumably it will be hard to forget that, but it doesn't have to be the whole.
It's like who they used to do that. We're definitely off topic, but the whole Steve Madden crew.
Yeah.
Fucking kidding me?
Well, I remember him when he was